Hello everyone and welcome to your fifth and final video lecture on the techniques of Unreal Engine 5. In this video we'll start off by looking at how to create a home screen or a start menu so that your user can choose exactly which level they want to start from and you give them the options. Pretty cool. Then from there we're going to look at packaging your Unreal Engine file as an executable so that others can download and play your architectural model. During this process I'm going to go through a lot of the different troubleshooting issues that I personally had on my PC when I was trying to package and get everything together. Hopefully for most of you there won't be too much troubleshooting involved with packaging it all together, but at least this way, by me showing you all the issues that I went through, hopefully it's shared issues, you can learn from what I've done and you can get through it a whole lot faster. Don't worry, I'll also show you the tips and tricks so that you can figure out what is going wrong at your end if something does go wrong, and that way you'll be able to sort it out and have your beautiful architectural executable model. Let's get stuck in. Alright, the last thing I want to show you is how to create a home screen. I've got a very simple version, something like this, where I can go to the pool level, the desert level, the tower level, whatever levels you've created inside your project. When your client starts up the project, they'd be able to choose which one they want to go to. So for example, if I want to go on the pool level, I click on the pool level, and then it will take me to the pool. My music starts, everything is ready to go, and I can start interacting with and experiencing that space. So in order to do that, we need to create both a start screen blueprint and a start screen level. The start screen blueprint is of course going to tell Unreal to direct us to the different levels that we've created. Let's go ahead and have a look at how to do that now. I'll show you a basic version, and then you of course can have a bit of fun with it, get creative and think about what you would like to show on your home screen. All right, so for you, you'd be doing it in your blueprints folder like this with all of your stuff organized nicely, or you might even create a new folder and call it user interface or home screen, something like that. I'm going to do mine inside the levels folder so we don't get confused with the stuff I've already made with the new stuff we're making now together. All right, so the first thing we're going to do once we're in a clean folder is right click, go to user interface and widget blueprint, click on user widget, and then we're going to name this, just to keep it separate from the one I've already done, I'm going to call this home screen. Double click on that now to open it up, and we're going to search for a horizontal box. This is going to be our screen. Bring it onto here. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some buttons. So what I'm going to do to make sure that they're paired to the screen is I'm going to chuck them underneath here in the hierarchy. So button 1, button 2, button 3. And don't worry about the size and the ratios right now. We can sort that sort of stuff out later. And then the last thing we're going to do is add some text underneath each one of those as well. So we've got a text box, and then we simply drag it on top of each of those buttons because we want it parented to those buttons. And that way, wherever the button goes, the text is always going to sit over the top of it. We're then going to click on each one of those, and we're just going to change the text for each one. So at the moment, it just says text block. I'm going to call this one pool level. The next one is going to be desert level. And the last one is going to be tower level. You might have 6 or 7 of these, so as many as you need. You can fill up your 1920 by 1080p or whatever aspect ratio you're doing perfectly with all of these different buttons along here, however you want to do it. And if you grab on this scaling icon out here, it's going to tell you what size you're at. So if we lock it to the 1920 by 1080p, that should be fine. We can bring it out to 4K, which is one all the way out there as well, just depending on what you want to do for your particular model. I'm happy with the 1080p for now. And with any of the buttons selected, we can add some padding up the top here. So let's say, for example, we want 50 all the way around, just so that they're not hovering over the top of each other. Cool. And we can move them all over into the center. We can play with the anchor, but I'm just going to do it quickly here. Push that over by, let's go 550. I reckon that's about centered. Yep, pretty good. And I'm just going to quickly add images. So if you go down to the style section of your button, and then it's got 2 different options here. So normal means when we're just looking at it, when it's on screen, and hovered means when our mouse is hovering over the top of it. So we've got 2 different types there. So the first one we'll do is normal, and all I'm going to do here is just drag and drop 3 different images. PNGs is fine. So I've got one is going to be for my pool level. So I've got that one here ready to go. So that's on the normal. And then when we're on hovered, I want the same one again, but instead of a rounded box, I want it to just turn into an image. Next one's going to be my desert level. Hovered is image, and then back up to normal is normal. Tower level, normal, and then hovered is image. Cool. Okay, so now we've got pool level button, a desert level button, a tower level button. Of course, if we click on any of these, we can change the fonts as well. We can change the size, letter spacing, all of that sort of stuff. You can add a color to the background. You can use colored buttons. You can change the size of the buttons. You can add a big title screen, all sorts of stuff. I'm going to leave it basic just to give you the absolute essentials, but I want you to feel free to change this to whatever you want that best suits your artistic vision and your team's visual narrative. Right, so now that we've got the actual buttons themselves, we can go and add in the back end for the interactivity. We'll compile that first to make sure that's all saved in there, ready to go. So then what we do is inside the same folder, we're going to create a new level. We're going to call it home screen level, just so that we know what we're looking for there. Double click on home screen level, save all of the assets and stuff that you've been working on. We can cross out of here for now. So this is our empty home screen level that we're in. We come up here to our blueprint settings. We're going to go open level blueprint. And this is our blueprint for the actual level itself. All right, first thing we're going to do is event begin play. So when we start this level, what's going to happen? So drag it out onto the screen and we go create and we're looking for widget. Here we go. Cool. And then the class we're looking for is this home screen that we've already created. So we type in home screen. There we go. So now it's saying when we begin playing, turn this on, turn that home screen on onto the screen. And then to make sure that that visualizes, we go return value, drag that out, and we go to add to viewport at the top here. And then the next one, we need to make sure we're actually going to be able to see the mouse cursor. So we've got the viewport, but whoever's going to be playing our model or starting up our model needs to be able to see where their mouse is so they can choose it. So drag out to here. This context sensitive needs to be deselected in order for you to be able to search for this first, so make sure that's turned off. Set show mouse, that's the one there. Click on that and then we want to tick that, so that's just saying make sure you're showing the mouse cursor once we get to this screen. And we need a controller, so that's just going to be get player controller, this one here. And that is all good to go. Click on compile to make sure all of that saves. We can close out of that one. And now we can go ahead and set up those buttons. So go back to our home screen blueprint widget, which is this one here. Click on the button, and then we're going to drag this down exactly the same as we did before. We're going to go down to on clicked, which is this one here at the top, and then drag this one out. And you guessed it, we're going to go open level by name, exactly the same as what we did before. So we need to make sure our names are exactly the same. Case sensitive is important. So this one here is desert underscore level. So I'm copying this exactly. So when I click on desert level, actually, this button is for pool. Pool underscore level. Whew, almost got that one. Yeah, pool underscore level, compile, perfect. And then bring that back up again. So we can just double check that and make sure I actually did that properly. Yep, that's on there, unclicked. Call button when it's on clicked, and we can see it's going to pool level. So pool level goes to pool level. Perfect. So we do the same thing for our desert level. Scroll all the way down, on clicked, drag out, open level by name. This time we're going to get the name right. Desert underscore level. Make sure capitals are correct. Desert underscore level. Perfect. Good. Compile. Done. And we are ready to go. All right, let us press play and see what happens. Okay, so we've got our 3 different buttons here. When we hover over them, it changes from the box with a border around it to the image, which is exactly what we said it should do. Then we've got our text over the top that says what we're doing, and the image tells us where we're going. Pretty cool. Let's click on one to try. We tried pool last time. Let's try desert. Click on desert. Give it a second to load. And we are in our desert level. Still compiling all the shaders, getting everything working, but it has worked. We see our home screen has worked. Cool, so that is all set up. Now we got one more thing to do to make sure that it actually starts like that when we start, is we're going to go into our project settings, type in default. I'm just going to change the default start level. So I had it on pool level before. I want it to be on home screen. So we've got home screen level, cool. And then game default map is going to be our home screen level. Cool, okay, that's all set. Press save, Control Shift S. That's going to save everything in the background. So now when we start up Unreal, it should start us up in our home screen level, and we are ready to export our executable. All right, so we're nearing the final stage now. The model is coming together nicely. We've probably still got a little bit to do and some things to consolidate, but we want to test exporting it out to an executable file. So we're going to see how it's going to run on someone else's computer and see how it's going to run in general. You definitely don't need to be finished your model to start trying this step. In fact, we recommend that you're trying to export your model anyway, way before you get there, so that you can figure out where all the bugs are. But these are the final steps you will take to package your file and make sure that it exports out as an executable so that you can A, submit your submission, but B, send it over to other people. Let's have a look at how to package our Unreal Engine 5 files. All right, so first thing we're going to do is jump up to our settings, and we're going to go to project settings. We're going to come up to description. So project name, that should be the creative title as a team you guys have come up with. So it shouldn't just be Governance 2073. That's what I'm going to call mine, but you guys will have your own name for your project. So what's the title of your project? What's the title of your model? What's the title of your narrative? Whatever that might be, come up with that. You can add anything else you want here. If you want to add your own names as the developers, whatever you want to add in there, you can. If you're making a version of the game that starts up in virtual reality, this is a checkbox to do that. So you might make two different versions of your model, one which opens up on PC and another one which opens up in VR. We can do that too. You can also edit the project thumbnail. So by default, it's just taken one of the images that it has inside the content browser already, which happens to be the pool. You can make whatever thumbnail you want there, that's fine. Then we are going to come down to maps and modes. We've already adjusted this a little bit earlier in this video. We want to make sure that we're starting on our home screen. So we did all that work to make the home screen. We want to make sure that that is where we actually start up. We don't want to randomly start at any one of the levels. We want to start at our home screen. So make sure both of these show your home screen. Then from there, we're going to go down to packaging. In packaging, we've got some different settings. So development means you're packaging this with all of its files for other people to be able to get in there and edit it. So if, for example, me or any of the tutors are asking for your files so that we can get in there and have a look around and edit stuff, we want the full development version or the debug version, that's fine. If you're just sending it to a teammate, or if this is the final version that you want to upload on the computer and there's no bugs, it's definitely going to work because you've tested this workflow 10 times already, then you can go on shipping. Shipping is going to be a whole lot smaller. Shipping is designed as the final game that people would buy. So it doesn't come with all of the debugging stuff and all of the background files. It just comes with the actual version. So what we're going to do is change that over to shipping, and then we can click out of that. Then we're going to come up to the top buttons up here, which says platforms, and we're going to choose the operating system we want it to play on. We're all using Windows at Curtin, so we would choose Windows. And then when we're ready, we're going to click on Package Project. Before we click on this button, it's important to know that this is going to take a long time. So whenever you package your project, you probably want to do it just before you go to bed, when you're going to leave your computer running anyway. If you're going to package things into an executable, you are going to do this at a time where you don't need to do any further modeling in this session of working. So leave this to the end of your session. When you're ready to go, you're going to click on Package Project. And then many of you are going to get this error code. We're going to cancel out of this because we need to do some fixing. If you didn't get this error code, well done, good for you. You can go ahead and skip to the end part where we're just adding in the file name. Click on cancel for now. And what we're going to do is jump onto Google and type in install Windows SDK. Download the installer. Double click. Install it. Next. Accept. Install. Yes. All right, and that's all installed. Then we're going to need to copy a file over from one part of the Unreal directory to another. So wherever you've got Unreal loaded, so on my program files Epic Games, I've got the latest version of Unreal in here. Then we're going to go to Engine, binaries, third party, .NET, into this one here, Windows, host, FXR, into there, and then we want this file here. Press Control C. Then we're going to go back to the engine binaries folder, this one here. We're going to go into .NET and then automation tool. And then we're simply just going to go Control V into here and make sure that is inside there. So Unreal Engine 5, engine binaries.net, automation tool. And then that's the file we just copied from before, hostfxr.dll. Then we're going to jump back to Google and we're going to look for .NET space core space 3.1, and it's the top one up here, download .NET Core 3.1, and then click on this one here, the times 64 installer. That's the one we're looking for on Windows. Click on that one. That's going to download a .exe. We can see it downloading up here. I'll zoom through that. That's finished downloading. Click on that one to open it. We'll go to your downloads folder and run it. Then we're going to install .NET Core. Yes, give that a second to load. I'll zoom through that. Beautiful. Close that down. Get out of that. And then we're going to close out of Unreal, and then we just go back over to our library again. We're going to double click on it to open it again, and that will refresh with all of that stuff that we've just installed. Then we should be able to click on Platforms, Windows, and then Package Project. Aha! No error code here, which is great to see. You'll notice that I'm sending mine off to my solid state hard drive. I do not have enough room on my hard drive to fit that on here. Hopefully you followed my advice. You got yourself a nice little external SSD as well. Let's go ahead and save that here and it will get started. Remember, this is going to take a long time, so only do this if it's the end of the evening or you're ready to finish work for the day. Select folder. And some of you may get this error code when you're trying to export about the Visual Studio not working. Having a look online at the forums, the answer is to download this Visual Studio from Microsoft and install that. All right, tells me we need to download and install this one here for helping us with our Unreal. If we look in here, it's talking about Unreal stuff in there. Click install. All right, that's finished installing. I'm going to do a quick restart and we'll try again in a second. All right, so we're back in now. Let's have a go. Platforms, Windows, Package Project. And we want to go to our SSD, select folder. And that has now started doing its job. I'm going to leave this running. I'll stop the recording here and we'll resume when we've got a packaged executable, and we'll have a look at that when it's ready. All right, so it looks like that was successful. We've got success down here in our code, in our output log, all looking good. We've got a glitch happening in one of our textures and materials, but not too worried about it. We can just re-import that texture, put that back on there when we're ready. For now though, let's go ahead and have a look at our packaged executable. So we'll jump out of Unreal, minimize that, and then in our House of Shadow, in that folder, we're gonna open up Windows, and then there it is, House of Shadow FP, that's our first person, EXE executable. Go ahead and double click on that to launch it. Allow access for governance 2073, that's what we called it, and we're looking pretty good here. So we've got the pool level, the desert level, or the tower level, and when we hover over the top of them, they're doing exactly what we wanted it to do. So let us go ahead and we'll try, I want to do the desert level so we can test jumping up to the pool. Let's go ahead and try that. Ah, look at this. Okay, let's check our collisions are working. Yep. Can't get into there. We can jump on top of it though. Okay, cool. Looks like it's running pretty smoothly. Shadows are looking pretty good. Textures are looking pretty good as well. Okay. All right, happy with the desert level. Let's go ahead and jump onto here and we'll go up to the pool. Let's see if our blueprint works to teleport us up to the pool. Crossing fingers. Aha! All right, pool is looking good. Water's there. That texture looks fine as well. So no issues with that barring coming through on the texture. That lighting is looking pretty cool. Yeah, pretty happy with the way the lighting has come through there. All right, let's make sure our collisions are working. Yeah, can't go into that column. Are we going to walk over the top of the water? Perfect. Okay, can we make this go upwards? We can. It's gone all the way up there. You beauty. All right, so that's getting stuck up there. So we know we've got to go back in and just edit that loop. Looks like something didn't quite work out there. I'm guessing it's something to do with our timing. What else have we got going on in here? Let's test the audio. Whoop, that's working. Woof, that's loud. Okay, back over here. And we've got that water working nicely. Sun is looking great. That's the edge of our drums. And if we come around to this side, is it going to get louder for us? Yes. Is the answer yes? Definitely going to get louder. Our reflections are working. Cool. Okay. I'm pretty happy with this. Let's see if we can go backwards in our loop. If I'm to jump over this edge here, is it going to take me back to the desert? Looks like we're working. And we're back in the desert and everything's running fine. Procedural growth. Let's see if we can run out here. Yeah, I can see my cactuses just popping up in the background, but I reckon that's only because I know to look for them that I can see that they're coming up. Otherwise, I reckon we're looking pretty good. I reckon we're pretty well sorted here. All right, we can go ahead and exit out of that. I'm pretty chuffed with how that came out. Beautiful. And that is how you export your model. So we had to do a little bit of troubleshooting in there to get that done in the end. There was a few bits and pieces that we had to check. This one here was particularly helpful, getting some code working for me. So each level, I just had to open it up, and then when you open it, it will show you any errors if there are. And I noticed that on the pool level, there was one error for the water. So I just put the ocean back onto that material again, and it seemed to fix that. Then I did this here, right click on the contents folder in the content browser and fix up redirectors folder. That seemed to fix a lot of the stuff as well. And then another one I did was inside my project settings, map, list. Then these three here, I've loaded in the actual list of my levels. So these are the locations of my levels. If I escape out of this, go to my browser and I go, let's go right click, home screen level. If I go to copy file path, I can then copy and paste that inside my map list for each one of these. So for example, if I click add an element, jump back out to here, right click, copy file path, jump back over to there again, and I can add it into this box here. That's going to add my level as potential file pathways. For whatever reason, that seemed to fix some of the issues I was facing. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it was because my original Unreal Engine file was on my hard drive, and then I migrated everything over to my SSD once it got too big. And I think that killed some of the locations because it was looking for it on my computer rather than on the SSD external drive. So adding the level locations inside the list of maps, for whatever reason, seemed to actually fix that issue, and it was able to find them correctly. And then the last thing, which I showed before, was just running the Visual Studio installer and running that specific one for coding, which I showed before for Unreal. All of those things together tended to fix my issues for getting the executable working. It's pretty likely that you're going to come up with a couple of issues, but don't be discouraged. There's a workaround for all of them. The big thing to check is when you're trying to package everything together is to check your output log. If it does have an error, it'll pop up down here and say show log, and then you can go back through here. If I come back through, we'll be able to see everything that I've done recently. And if I go and find a red one, here we go. Let's get some red code. So collision profile was not working. So this was that water body that I talked about before, and then I just drag and dropped the ocean shader back onto this material. That was likely because we copied this entire set of assets from one level to another level, and for whatever reason the water just didn't come through correctly. So drag and dropping it again fixed that. So going through your output log, looking for anything that's red, these are the things that you need to fix in order to get your packaging working correctly. If in doubt, easiest thing to do is just actually copy and paste the error code that you get here into Google And I promise you, someone will have had the error before, either in the Unreal Engine forums, the Epic Games forums, or on Reddit. Someone somewhere will have had the issue, and likely they'll tell you how to fix it. And then eventually you'll be able to package everything. So like I did before, the process is to package it, play it. So play your model, run around, experiment with walking through and narrating it, and that will help you identify areas where it's not quite working effectively. Like when I got over to my door over here and I saw that it wasn't coming back down once I moved away again. And now that I'm here looking at it, I can see also that the texture hasn't come through again either. So a few issues there, and that all comes from testing the model. So don't leave your packaging all the way to the end. Do a few goes at it while you're still in your rough drafts, final draft stages, so that you can figure out what's working and what's not working. And then that will allow you to refine your model and get it to the best possible outcome so that you can narrate over the top of it and create a really beautiful, interesting, and immersive presentation. That is it, everybody. That marks the end of our 5th and final video lecture on the techniques, the basics of Unreal Engine 5. I hope you've learned a lot. I hope you found this useful, and I hope you now have a beautiful, interactive, level design architectural model. That's all for now. Have fun. At the end of the day, all right, plenty more fun to come, plenty more fun.